What's up, One Pride? So just like that, the draft that we had all been waiting for has already come and now already gone. So let's break it down. First, I'm gonna roll through each pick and then I'll let you know my overall grade. Let's get to it. With the third overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, our Detroit Lions selected Jeff Okudah, cornerback from Ohio State. This pick was definitely a fan favorite. I do have to say I was a little let down that we couldn't trade down. And yes, I know, before you guys jump all over me, I understand that two people have to come to the trade table. Doesn't change the fact that I was a little bit disappointed. But either way, I think that we got a lockdown corner here. Okudah is the ideal height and length combo for corners, and he already played in a pretty much exclusive man coverage scheme, which will help him coming to Detroit. He has elite footwork and his hips stay constantly on a swivel. But what I personally like most about Okudah is that he not only seems to have a high football IQ, but also to be smart off the field, and he boasts very high character. His interviews specifically blew me away. Next up, with the 35th pick overall, our Detroit Lions chose to select DeAndre Swift, running back from Georgia. Now this pick caught me by surprise. Although Swift is without a doubt one of the top 3 running backs in this draft class, it still felt too early to me. I'm on tape saying that I wouldn't look at a running back any higher than the 4th. I also wonder if some of his nagging injuries should be a concern. They didn't necessarily sideline him in his time at Georgia, but they were present and we already have an injury-prone running back. On the bright side, Swift is an explosive and shifty running back that can also help add to our passing threat. He was averaging 6.6 yards per carry through his last season in the SEC, and that is no small feat. Plus, depth in the running back room can't hurt. Moving on, with the 67th pick overall in the 2020 NFL Draft, our Detroit Lions selected Julian Okwara, defensive edge from Notre Dame. He will be joining his brother Romeo in Detroit. I must say, with this selection, I was happy to finally address some pass rush. As we all know, it was something lacking majorly last season. And I thought Okwara was a steal. He was projected on draft boards to go much higher prior to his leg injury in his last season. So the fun stuff. 33% of Julian Okwara's tackles went for a loss. And he has an 18.4% pressure percentage since 2018, which was tied for first in the defensive ends in this class. It's a bonus that he's also a scheme fit and capable of dropping back to cover. Next, in a trade up 10 picks to pick number 75, our Detroit Lions selected guard Jonah Jackson from Ohio State. I was a happy girl here as well, as I was preaching that we needed to address the trenches on both sides of the ball. And with the departure of Graham Glasgow on the offensive side, even more so. And the good news with Jonah Jackson is that he should be able to become an immediate starter. He also has some bonus experience playing at center in college. Fun fact, Jackson played 1,020 pass blocking snaps and only allowed 1 sack. I'll take it. Plus, O-line depth is so important, and we should know that better than anyone else, with Matt Stafford having gone down with an injury the past 2 seasons. Then, in a trade down with the Las Vegas Raiders to the 121st pick, our Detroit Lions selected guard from the University of Kentucky, Logan Stenberg. Some may have been scratching their heads as to drafting 2 guards back-to-back, but in my opinion, this depleted position group requires competition to see who can best get the job done, and shows that our coaching staff might also think that our offensive line is lacking some talent. If this puts Wiggins and a few others on the roster bubble, I'm okay with that. Stenberg was another Senior Bowl scouted player, showing that Matt Patricia really liked what he saw. And also that we're very serious about shoring up this O-line and keeping Stafford on his feet. But best of all, I think it shows commitment to this run game, as Stenberg helped lead the Wildcats to the 4th highest running offense in his final season at Kentucky. I also hear that Stenberg has a nasty on-field mentality, and I think it's been a hot minute since we've had anybody like that here in Detroit, and might be a breath of fresh air to have someone like that back. Next up, at number 166 overall, our Detroit Lions drafted Quintez Cephus, wide receiver, Wisconsin. Right off the bat, I saw some people concerned with Cephus's 40 time at the combine. However, I think it's important to note that Cephus is a route runner more than he is a speedy skill receiver. He is another contested catch professional, likely to take over for Marvin Jones Jr. after next year. Although his speed is only gradual, he brings it as a blocker and as a ball carrier. Special side note, our first round draft pick, Jeff Okudah, says that Cephus was the hardest wide receiver to stay on in college. And then at number 172 overall, our Detroit Lions selected Jason Huntley, running back from New Mexico State. I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was a bit confused by this pick, and to the extent that we hadn't taken a defensive tackle to this point. But the way I see it, Huntley figures to be a change of pace option. He'll provide competition to Ty Johnson and at returner. I'm interested to see the proposed use of Huntley, be it as a change of pace running back option or on special teams, because I, for one, feel like Jamal Agnew did a pretty fair job of turning it around last season and probably have a little bit more faith in him than some of the rest of the fan base. Moving on up, at number 197 overall, our Detroit Lions selected John Pinacini. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Defensive tackle, Utah. I think this pick addresses questions on the defensive line with the loss of Damon Harrison Sr. and A'Shawn Robinson, plus takes into consideration Mike Daniels' nagging injuries. With Shelton, Hand, and Williams being the only sure things, I think this depth piece might be necessary. He'll be likely to compete for a spot on the line with Atkins and Strong. Not knowing very much about this player, I took it upon myself to read some player reviews. What I found was that he is a stout interior anchor that wins off of pure strength and effort, and fills the need against the run after a roster turnover. And last but not least, in a trade with the Patriots for the 235th overall pick, our Detroit Lions select defensive lineman Jashawn Cornell. He is a scheme fit, which is typical of what you see teams looking for at this point, especially in the 7th round. He's versatile, having played both edge and inside in college, which is a plus for Bob Quinn. And he's a big boy, a build that Matt Patricia likes. I'd say we're looking at a guy with a potential high ceiling. And I think he started playing his best football at just the right time, being his senior season, to get him into the draft and now onto an NFL team. So with all that being said, what's my final grade for this Lions draft? I'm going to give the Lions a solid B+. I like that we addressed the trenches, I like that we addressed our needs in the secondary, and I like that we added some depth pieces at running back and for the defensive line. My least favorite pick of the draft had to be Huntley, but like I said, I am interested to see what their vision for him is. All in all, I think we should be very happy with the way that this draft played out, Lions fans, and I think we should be super excited for the upcoming season to see how it all comes together. What would you grade this draft, One Pride? And who is your favorite pick of them all? Let me know on social media. If you're looking for me on Facebook or YouTube, search for RachelMarieSports. On Twitter, at RachelMarieSports, and on Instagram, at RachelMarieSports. Let's go Lions!